Imagine walking into a large store looking for one specific product. Some shoppers glance up at the overhead signs, others head straight to an employee for help. Some just wander until they spot what they need. If that store had no signs and no staff to ask for help, leaving everyone to just wander around, a lot of people would turn around and leave. The exact same thing happens on your website. Today we're breaking down WCAG 2.4.5, also known as multiple ways. I'll explain what it means, walk through the 3 main navigation options, and give you a simple way to decide which combination works best for your website. Everyone has their own preferred way to search through a website. Some visitors naturally go to your main menu. Others want to type exactly what they're looking for into a search box. Someone else might prefer to lay your entire site structure laid out on one web page. WCAG 2.4.5 simply says, give people more than one way to find your pages. This means there must be at least 2 ways to find pages on your site. There is one exception though. Pages that are part of a linear process, like step 2 of a checkout form or a payment confirmation page, don't need multiple paths because the visitor is supposed to follow a single sequence to complete that action. But for your services page, your about page, your blog post, your contact form, every other typical page, you need at least 2 different routes to reach them. So let's start with the one we're all familiar with, your primary navigation menu. This is typically in your website header and links to all your primary pages. A well-designed main menu is consistent across all pages, easy to spot, and labeled clearly. Standard names like services or pricing always work better than clever or branded terms that make visitors wonder if they're clicking the right thing. Now, there are a few things that actually make a menu accessible. First is predictable placement. Your header needs to stay in the same spot across your entire site. Links shouldn't shift around or disappear as people move from page to page. Second, it has to work with a keyboard. Visitors using the tab key should be able to move through every item, open drop-downs, and make selections without ever touching a mouse. Third, no hover triggers. If a drop-down only appears when someone hovers a mouse over it, you've created an immediate barrier for keyboard users, screen reader users, and anyone on a mobile touchscreen. And fourth, clear focus indicators. When someone is tabbing through your menu, they should always be able to see exactly where they are. That visible outline around a focused element is essential. A common mistake is duplicating your exact header menu in the footer and calling that 2 navigation methods. Placing links in your footer is helpful, but copying the same structure does not give visitors a different way to navigate. Since we all should already have a main navigation established, let's talk about our other options, starting with a search field. We've all likely used them, so we know a search bar lets someone type a keyword or phrase and go directly to relevant pages. It's a shortcut for the person who knows what they want, but doesn't know where you put it on your site. Search is especially useful if you have a lot of content, like an active blog, service page with multiple offerings, a membership directory, or an online store. Here are a few things that your search field needs to actually be accessible. It needs a clear, visible label. This can be as simple as the word search, but do not rely on placeholder text alone, which is the text inside the search box. The placeholder text often has low color contrast and it vanishes the moment someone starts typing, which can confuse users with cognitive disabilities or low vision. If you're using a magnifying glass icon, instead of a visible text label, make sure the underlying code includes descriptive text, so a screen reader announces search rather than button or some other unreadable file name. And of course, the search field must be fully operable with just a keyboard. Some other things to consider are to keep it visible and in a logical place, usually in the header or footer of your site. Don't try and get fancy and hide it behind a hover effect. And most importantly, you need to test it. A search tool that returns irrelevant results or dead ends creates a new barrier instead of solving one. If someone's search returns no matches, give them a helpful message suggesting alternative keywords or linking to your Sitemap or maybe a contact page. And don't assume that your platform's search field works right out of the box. The Squarespace built-in search field is awful. Not only can you not control much for style, so the color contrast almost always fails, but it also isn't built very robustly. Search results are generally pretty poor. Sorry, Squarespace, love you, but if your website is on Squarespace and you want or need to add a search functionality, you'll need to look at third-party options. Now let's talk about sitemaps, also referred to as HTML sitemaps. This might sound a bit scary or too technical, but all it is a simple web page that contains organized links to all the main pages on your website. People often confuse an HTML sitemap with an XML sitemap. An XML sitemap is a technical code file designed for search engine crawlers like Google. It is not client-facing. An HTML sitemap is a page designed for human visitors. It gives them a bird's eye view of your content in a simple, easy-to-read list. This is an excellent option for anyone who finds nested drop-down menus confusing or difficult to operate. A useful sitemap should be a list of organized links under headings like services, resources, about, blog, and support. Use descriptive link text like web design services instead of learn more or click here. Make sure your link colors meet contrast minimums so they're easy to read. Keep the page simple. You don't need to heavily design this page. And update the sitemap anytime you add new pages. The most practical place to link to your sitemap is in your website footer. That keeps it accessible from every page on your website without taking up that valuable space in your header. And it should always be created as a standard web page on your platform, whether it's WordPress or Squarespace, rather than uploading it as a PDF, because those create other accessibility issues. There are a few other ways to satisfy this guideline beyond just menus, search, and sitemaps. Things like related page links at the bottom of a blog post, category overview pages, or in-page table of contents with jump links for longer articles. On a smaller site, even linking to every main page on your homepage counts as a valid second navigation path. So that would be like having your main navigation at the top and then maybe a sidebar with links to every other page. So how do you decide which methods your website needs? Here are a few tips. If you have a small site, like 1 to 10 pages, a clear header menu plus direct homepage links is sufficient. A growing business with 10 to 50 pages should have a primary main navigation and either a sitemap in the footer or a search bar in the header or footer. A content-heavy site with 50 or more pages should have the primary menu navigation, a sitemap in the footer, a search field with filters and categories in the header or footer, and contextual links on pages like blog post or product pages. So now that you know all of your website visitors and potential customers have different browsing and search preferences, head on over to your website and see if you have at least 2 different ways for them to search around. This is another easy accessibility improvement you can make on your own. No professional required. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing and share it with a fellow business owner so we can all make the web a more inclusive place together. We'll see you next time.